Hey, this is Chris, and I'm here today to talk about Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, Polyphony Digital's preview of sorts to the full Gran Turismo 5 experience. A lot of people have been looking at Prologue as a $40 demo that Polyphony is asking you to pay for, not really offering you all the same things that Gran Turismo offers. But really, it's kind of better to look at it as a first-look preview of what you'll see in Gran Turismo 5. You get about 70 cars in the game, which is more cars than you had in the last Need for Speed title. There are 6 tracks, but some of the alternative routes in those are unique enough to where you can say there's probably about 10 tracks or so. So while, the course selection is a little bit less than some other retail games, the car count's actually higher than some other ones, and so you're getting really a full-fledged product, and it is really worth it for Gran Turismo fans to play the game. The thing that Gran Turismo has always excelled at is the driving mechanics. It's called the real driving simulator for a reason, and it's because it nails the driving mechanics perfectly. Gran Turismo 5 somehow actually manages to do it better than Gran Turismo 4, and it's a very noticeable difference. Cars will properly understeer or oversteer as they would in the real-life counterpart. Weight ratio makes a difference, so if you have a car with a mid-engine and it's heavy in the center, you're going to kind of spin out in the middle as opposed to like on the back wheels or whatever. And the great thing is that in a lot of other racing games, as you get bigger and better cars, you might have a higher top speed or better acceleration or better braking, but they don't really give you the characteristics of each vehicle, and that's absolutely what Gran Turismo 5 Prologue nails. Every car feels absolutely unique. Every car makes you want to get it to drive to see what it's like. Even the kind of crappier cars that, you've already got something that's better than them, you still want to go back and get those cars because they're going to drive different than anything you've had before. And Polyphony, once again, as mentioned, has absolutely nailed how good it is to drive these cars. It's absolutely perfect. Now, obviously, if you've looked at the videos or screenshots or anything like that, you will know that Prologue is an absolutely fantastic-looking game. Gran Turismo HD, which was available a long time ago, is absolutely nothing on this game. The car is absolutely fantastic. Game runs in 1080p, 720p, 1080i, whatever your TV supports, this game will run at it, and always at 60 frames a second. Replays are 30, but when you're in the car, it's 60 frames a second. One of the cool new things that really gives the game visual boost is the in-car camera. So you actually see the wheels, the dashboard, the whole thing there, fully rendered. It looks absolutely fantastic. Real lighting effects on everything. So as you're going through a tunnel, as you're taking turns, and the light crawls across the dashboard, you get the steering wheel shadow crawling across everything you're seeing there. Speedometers glow when you're inside of a tunnel depending on what car you're in. You get the iDrive thing and the BMW. All of it's there. All of it's absolutely fantastic. And, just like the driving mechanics, how every car has its own characteristic. You want to drive each of the cars to see what the interior is like, see how, what it kind of looks like to drive these cars in real life. So although the car selection is relatively limited to 70 cars, you're getting a wide range of cars in there. You're getting the Cappuccino, which is like a 60 or some odd horsepower piece of crap, up to something like a Ferrari 599 with 600 plus horsepower, and everything in between. You get the Ford GT, you got some Mustangs, you got Vet, you got a bunch of Skylines, you got a huge variety of cars, so you're getting a whole lot of selection in there. The courses are also very similar. You're going to get things like the Daytona Oval, which basically you just go in an oval, but then that track also has a roadway selection where it's a much more complicated course. The high-speed ring is here, which is a fan favorite. Fuji, a couple of selections of that. Basically, the course selection is really good. Gran Turismo has always had, dead-on accurate representations of the real-world thing, and that's not changed here. Every single one of them is an absolute blast to drive. One of the complaints about past games in the Gran Turismo series is the AI, and how it sort of sticks to a predefined line, and how it doesn't realize you're there and will just crash into you. And luckily that's been fixed a lot in Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. The AI isn't absolutely perfect, but it's much more dynamic. It'll make mistakes, it'll kind of go off the track and spin out. There's only maybe a couple times where they came up behind me and just crashed into me like I wasn't there, and I think that was because I was in pretty much the only place to go. So that's pretty good. While racing against the AI is of course fun, racing against human opponents is far more challenging, and Gran Turismo 5 Prologue is the first Gran Turismo game to go online, at least in the US. The online racing structure is pretty basic. You have a series of events to pick from, which is pretty cool. It's a long list. It's like the S-Class events in the game. They're sort of limited by power, which cars you can use, things like that. But once you get into a race, you just take on the race and somebody wins. One of the really cool things about it, though, is there are rewards for it. So you earn money for any race you partake in, so you really could just jump into the game, go online, do nothing but online races, and be able to purchase every car in the game aside from the ones you have to unlock in the single player. So you can basically play through the whole thing without actually ever playing a single player game. So overall, Gran Turismo 5 is an incredibly fun game. It's not necessarily a game for casual racing fans or people who are just kind of thinking about trying out the Gran Turismo experience. They're better off left waiting for the full Gran Turismo 5 in about a year or so. But for Gran Turismo fans who just love to race, it's really a must-buy experience.